shop.local1stop.org if you wish to sign up today.
Shop local first. All across the area. Shop here first.
The St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center is excited to announce that it has now reopened for tours. Tours will continue to be held on Sundays from 1 to 4 p.m. The center will be following face covering and social distancing guidelines. Please visit the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center website for additional COVID-19 visitor information and for any changes to tour dates and times. We look forward to seeing you at the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
And now, as a public service, the Valley Breeze and valleybreeze.com present recent death notices from the local area. The J.J. Duffy Funeral Home in Cumberland announces the passing of Anna M. Ray, 90 years old, of Cumberland, who passed away Wednesday, August 26th in the Eastgate Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, East Providence. She is the wife of the late Giamatino Ray and late Manuel Cardoso Martino. Born in Goiás, Portugal, she came to this country in 1985, settling in Cumberland. She was employed as a factory worker for the former Peterson Puritan Company in Cumberland for many years until her retirement, and is survived by her 5 children: Maria de Rosario de Fatima, Maria Isabella, Jose Manuel, all of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Conseco Maria of Mendon, Massachusetts, Francisco de Assis of Cumberland, and 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild, and several nieces and nephews. Anna's life celebration will be held on Wednesday, September 2nd, beginning with visiting hours from 4 to 7 p.m. and continuing on Thursday, September 3rd at 9 a.m. from the J.J. Duffy Funeral Home, 757 Mendon Road in Cumberland. A mass of Christian burial will be held at 10 a.m. in Our Lady of Fatima Church, 1 Fatima Drive, Cumberland. Good morning, and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning to you. It is time for Coffee Ann on ON Radio on the last Friday in August. It's Friday, August 28th. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is Joe Callahan. With us this morning, Romeo Berthium. Good morning, Romeo.
Good morning, Joe.
Nice to have you here with us.
Always a pleasure.
Dave Richards is here as well. Good morning, Dave. He's wiping things off.
Yes, I am. Hi there, Joe. Hello, everybody. Good morning, Romeo.
Good morning,
Lovely
Dave.
day.
Yes.
We'll be joined by Garrett Mansuri coming up at 8:15 as we have all the people running for political office. Not all of them, but all 14. Is it 14 that's running for city council? They've all been booked, so they're all coming in at different times, and today is Garrett's time to come in. 8:15 to 8:30 for him today. So we'll save all the fun questions, pointed questions for him a little later on. So I did see something that I thought was amusing because the
You're so easily amused,
yes, I
Callahan.
am. Because the NBA called off all their games last night, and Major League Baseball called off most of their games last night. The NHL called off their games last night, and so some pundit said, you're just going to, you called off all your games, and now people are going to be, well, what do we do? And now more people may go watch the RNC, and you may have created more people to vote for Trump. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Well, bit of a stretch.
It is a bit of a stretch, but they might have got one.
Now, did the
Yes.
NBA players change their minds? They are going to play, right? After all, I thought.
Well, they will eventually.
Yeah.
This weekend.
I thought. Yeah.
They
right.
were. They
Once
were
the
saying-
demands are met, they will. I think it has something to do with green M&Ms in the dressing room.
Well, they did say, well, maybe we'll just call it the whole season, but cooler heads prevailed on that
Yeah.
one. Mostly Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
who said, if you all quit,
Yeah.
you won't have your platform to put out your green M&M demands.
Yes.
And so they all said, hey, that's right. Oh, we guess we better keep playing so we can keep demanding polka-dotted M&Ms and things
There
like
aren't
that.
any polka-dotted M&Ms, Joe.
We'll make them. I'm not playing until there are some. I'm going to be quiet now. until I
For
get
the
my
radio
polka-dot
folks that
M&Ms.
didn't catch up with this, we all know that sometimes there are what
Riders.
we consider very peculiar demands made by performers, and some of them have included in the past that in the dressing room there must be only green M&Ms, no other colors of M&Ms. There must be a big bowl of them. And these are the things that performers would demand when they come into a venue to perform for an audience. So that's what it's. So
they
now
won't
that I've
perform.
explained that, some people will understand what we're talking about.
From now on, I want. Let's see. Is this?
We got you
I don't
black
want, I don't want
coffee.
to drink coffee in a styrofoam cup anymore. But if I can have a real cup, I'm
real
not.
cup. Well, bring
I'm
a
not
real-
coming in. I'll show
bring
you
a real cup.
We don't mind. Then we'll also provide the detergent and a washcloth so that you can clean it when you leave. We have no janitorial staff
But
to
I don't
do that.
I don't do windows.
My first job was at Burger King.
Yep.
And drinks were free for all employees.
Nice.
As long as you brought your own cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to use one of their cups, they wanted 5 cents.
But I think that's the expense in most of these places.
I
isn't
don't
it? It's
consider
the
that
container more than the
unreasonable.
Liquid. You don't consider that unreasonable, Dave?
I mean, for your staff?
Yeah. Well, I understand.
Okay, fine. Because,
We took
I
the
know
Burger King
something.
cups anyway.
I know something, and Joe knows something
True confession.
about that business. That at the end of the
yeah.
day, when you reconcile what you sold,
Yep.
you count the cups.
cups, yeah.
You don't count what's in the dispenser.
That's true.
You count the cups.
That's their way
and
to-
so
yeah.
if you let staff use cups, you'd be short of money at the register.
Makes sense.
They were short. We were 16 and 17. And You'd forget your cup from home. It's all
My
right.
cup runneth
I'm
over.
just grabbing that.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so the RNC was last night. They wrapped it up last night.
They did.
And as I'm sitting, and I did watch it, most of it, Trump's speech went
70 minutes.
terribly long.
70 minutes. The longest
I'm like-
acceptance speech in the history of
it was
conventions.
11:30. He was still talking.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking 3 times it looked like he was about to wrap it up, and he just kept going. I'm like,
Well,
all right, I've had enough. So,
I guess he forgot the meaning of this saying brevity is the soul of wit.
My gosh! But he kept repeating
Yeah.
it. But then he would repeat himself.
Yeah.
And he must have mentioned 3 times. He's going to bring down prescription costs. I'm like, you've already said that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it the first time. So
I wish Don Burnell was with us today.
I was going to say Don Trump.
I wish
I wish it was.
I wish Don Burnell was with us today,
Yeah.
so I could ask him his opinion of the phrase from a grammatical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I profoundly accept
Profoundly.
the
Did he say
nomination.
I
Yeah, that was
remember
it was in the
saying.
sound clip we had on
Okay.
the radio.
Well, profoundly is an
Otherwise, how
adverb.
would I know? Because I'm sleeping.
I
you
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I profoundly accept the nomination.
Is that grammatically correct?
For where I come from, I would have got a big old red X in that
I
one.
don't think so.
Well, profoundly is an adverb. Accept is a verb, so it modifies the verb.
Well,
Don-
then,
Don
at the
said
very
that.
least, then
Yeah.
you're wrong because the adverb's supposed to go after the verb.
No.
No. I
No,
think you're-
yes.
I think you're wrong, Dave.
No, that's wrong.
You wouldn't say I ran profoundly.
Yes,
No, you wouldn't.
yes.
No, you
Well,
wouldn't.
see, this is the problem. We're bringing up something from the 1960s here.
Yeah.
There's the common way of talking, and then there's the way the book says is right.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I know this is that, remember the original TV show Star Trek? And they had that phrase, that little poem that William Shatner, the actor, read at the beginning, Space, the Final Frontier. And it came to, boldly go where no man has gone before, was grammatically incorrect. But they did it because it served... It served to make the effect they were looking.
I go
to make.
boldly instead.
Right.
Boldly. I think you're wrong, Dave, in all due respect. But that's okay. You're entitled to your
Poetic-
opinion, even though
poetic
you're wrong.
license. Yeah, that's right. So as
That's
I'm
why
watching,
I want Don Burnell in here
Yeah.
to settle this matter.
so
Because Don's never wrong.
As I'm watching the
Wow.
RNC last night,
Yes.
and Trump is speaking, I turned to my wife. I said, "Do you hear horns?"
I could hear. Yeah, I could
And
hear.
she goes,
yeah.
"Yes, I do." I
Yeah.
said, "You know what? I think there are people outside the White House
Disturbed.
trying to drown
Yeah.
him out." So
I agree.
I did a quick, look up on the
Sure.
phone. Sure enough, they were
Yeah, I was thinking
Horns.
that too. Yeah.
any noise they could make, and a band showed up. My local
I
Washington
didn't hear
D.C.
the band, but I did hear some
I couldn't
background.
hear the band. They just
Yeah.
it was in the article I read from a Washington
Yeah,
news station.
yeah.
that there were like hundreds of people outside the White House. They were trying to drown him out, and it lasted for about 30 minutes, and then it was quiet.
I kind of heard it when his daughter was introduced.
I heard that too.
Yeah. That's when I first heard it. But
First,
then
I thought it was
continued.
outside my house. I'm like,
Yeah.
are there people like down the road making noise? I was like, oh no, it's
Yep.
it's them. Okay.
Yep.
But what was more disturbing than that, and they got quiet after a while. And I saw this morning again. I saw some clips from other Washington-based TV stations. The people that there were. How many people do you think were there on the South Lawn last night? 200.
1,500.
There were 1,500.
They said over 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Somebody said 2,000. So split it down the middle.
Some of them are walking back to their hotel, and they're getting yelled at. Vile things as they're walking to.
Really? Because
Because they're Republicans.
You think so?
Yes.
Or is it because they weren't wearing masks?
No.
Yeah.
They were being yelled that they were racist.
Really?
So that's got nothing to do with wearing a mask.
Because they attended that.
Because they
speech?
attended that
Yeah?
thing.
Wow.
And they had police escorts
Yeah.
to get them back to their hotel.
What did you think of the fact
Like,
that most of them were not wearing masks, by the way?
Very, very few were.
Yeah, I know.
saw a couple.
Yeah.
So very few were standing next to each other, too, that closely.
No, they were pretty close.
There was a lot of distancing going on.
Not that I saw.
I agree.
They were pretty close to each other, Dave.
Well, in the pictures that were in the paper, there was a lot of distancing, except
Not
for
the
the
live
president and
pictures.
his wife, which, of course, is an exception
that's
to the
okay.
rule because they
Well,
live in the same
Yeah.
household.
So,
Not a lot.
not wearing masks. So I'm not a big mask wearing person anyway. So it's like, if you want to wear one, go ahead. So, but if you don't, it's your choice.
I think it was a statement, kind of a political statement. Though.
Could be.
Yeah. I think
He
it
kept
was.
mentioning, he said this one twice too. We're going to have a vaccine soon, by the end of the year, or possibly sooner.
He did say that.
So write that. Someone mark that down on the calendar.
Yeah, he also mentioned Joe
I
Biden
wanna keep that.
Joe Biden by name 41 times.
Is that right?
And
I know he said it a lot.
Just to compare it to last week,
The Democrats.
Biden never mentioned Trump by name
Once? No?
He just mentioned the present occupant. You know,
Well, that's.
I know.
think that's
I
a.
understand.
That's a slam.
Well, it could be, but the point is, I think there was a much bigger slam last night.
Which one? Which was what?
Well, no, just the fact that he kept mentioning negative
Biden,
things about Joe.
Well,
anyway, you know.
but how come you never see people at Biden rallies? The fans, not the fans. You never see the Trump supporters yelling at Biden supporters.
Yeah, I
How
think
come you never see that?
Because a lot of the things that you saw last week, the Democrats, a lot of that stuff was pre-taped.
Well, right.
And there were no audiences even for Biden's
Yeah.
acceptance speech, so you couldn't. Everything was kind of done, in a studio. I think, kind of atmosphere. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I could be wrong, but anyway, it's over now. Now the real campaign begins.
Now the real fun begins.
The real fun begins. 67 days.
Now,
November 3rd.
Romy, what's your take on Nancy Pelosi's statement yesterday, saying she doesn't think Joe Biden should debate?
Absolutely
Donald
disagree
Trump.
with her completely. If he wouldn't debate, that would be a sign of weakness, and I think they're afraid that he might stumble.
Well, what
And,
do you think about her saying though? Saying, I don't want him to Biden to debate Trump because it would legitimize Trump. I'm like, what?
No, I disagree. Trump is the president. Of course not. No, but that's a terrible thing to say, what she said about don't debate him. A very bad piece of advice.
Okay.
And I don't think he's going to take it. He's going to debate it.
Well, no, I heard that yesterday, and then I checked our national news source, and
Yeah.
there was a statement from Biden. He's ready and
Sure,
willing
of
and
course.
looking forward to debating him.
I think if
So-
he didn't debate Trump, it would give more fuel to the fire that he's not qualified to be president. Because he tends to stumble and forget and all that. And that's not true. I saw him last week in action. He's highly qualified to be president.
Okay, you think so?
I know so.
Okay. And I think Trump only referred to Bernie Sanders once in the speech last night.
Yeah.
Called him
Yeah.
Crazy Bernie. I was like, ah.
Well, it wouldn't be normal if he didn't give them a specific name.
And his daughter introduced him last night, and she was
Well, yeah, she did.
Ivanka.
Yeah, I
but
was
she
thinking
said,
Melania's the
you
first lady."
always know what's on my father's mind. You may
That's
not-
true.
She said you may not like it,
Right.
but you always know what he's thinking.
And she was referring to his way
Well,
of
his
communicating,
his tweeting.
Yeah.
And he's just
Well,
not going to stop.
how objective can she be?
Well, she's his daughter, and she works for him.
Number two.
So,
I saw the other daughter give a speech the second night, maybe? I forget her
yes,
name.
Laura Trump.
Yeah, Laura. First time I see her. And then I think his younger son, was on the stage, but he didn't. I think he's gotten real tall. I don't remember him from 4 years ago. I don't even know what he looks like. He hasn't been in he's been kept out of the forefront over the years, which is fine. It's a family thing, and the family should not get involved, although in Trump's case, he hired half of his family, which I guess is prerogative.
Yes, he can have any one of his supporters. Or no, they advisors. That's what he's called.
So he's going to get involved. He's going to get some. He's going to rise in the polls for a few days.
Well,
that's normal. Biden did that last week, and after Labor Day, which is the traditional start of campaigns, although this campaign's been going on for 3 years, they start really
4.
early. Yeah, but it's going to be a lot. I will say one thing.
Yeah.
The election result will be a lot closer than what a lot of people think. I think it's going to be very, very tight. That's just my prediction. I still predict
Why
Biden.
Don't you have confidence in the Russian interferers?
Well, of course I don't. No, but the point is, I believe that it's going to be tight. It's going to be Biden. I'm still sticking to that, but it's going to be very, very tight.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break in the Coffee and program. We expect Garrett Manzeri will be joining us next on ON Radio.
I'm here with Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency in North Smithfield. Celeste, tell me about the Benjamin Agency.
Most of our business is providing home and auto insurance. However, we feel the most important thing is to insure people. Everyone insures their home, their autos, which are really just objects. I don't know if you know this, Dave, but only 57% of Americans even have life insurance. You may get into an accident. You may have a claim on your home, but life insurance is a guaranteed payout for your family. We are here to keep your family going. Our family serving your family.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
So you're remodeling your home, and you want to find just the right flooring. So off you go to DRL Carpet. Why? Because they have the best selection and prices in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. That means you don't have to wait. Plus, it means you can get it installed now. So first you get the best price. Next you get the best service, and you get the best selection. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, hardwood floors, the place to shop is DRL Carpet, 27 Veterans Way, Woonsocket, next to World War II Veterans Memorial Park. DRL Carpet reminds you there's a big difference between getting the job done and getting the job done right. DRL Carpet of Woonsocket. The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON, AM, and FM.
It is Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here. Romeo Berthum is here with us. Good morning to you, Romeo.
Good morning.
And we're being joined by Garrett Manzeri, who's checking his phone. Good morning, Garrett.
Good morning, everybody.
Everything okay on your phone?
Yes, I'm bringing up my website for my information. So
okay.
It's for the interview.
Smart. Okay. So Garrett was a Woonsocket City Councilor. When were you on the council? What were the years?
2013 to 2016.
Okay. And now you're running again. Mm-hmm. What was your major decision of why you wanted to run again?
Really, I just wanted to, I really just wanted to get back involved. Obviously, I'm involved in a bunch of different organizations, but, having the ability to be on the council and to vote for the budget and upcoming legislation, I really felt like I could be best utilized doing that again and giving it one more chance to see if the voters want to give me another 2 years on the council. So I always took my term on the council very seriously. There wasn't one day that I went by that I wasn't working on some type of initiative or piece of legislation to try to make the city a better place. And I think we were successful in doing that. When I first came onto the council, it was very difficult. We had a budget commission in place, and they kind of did what they wanted to do, and it was frustrating because you want to come in, you just get elected, and you want to do all these initiatives, and some of them were to even save money for the city too, so they weren't bad initiatives, but it's just they were kind of stuck in their mentality of we need to raise taxes, we need to try to slash everything that we possibly can, and that really wasn't in the best interest of the city. I think we all found that out.
So what do you think happened, Garrett, as far as your re-election bid last time?
I think sometimes you get caught up in the mayor race and other races that go on. This was the first time when I ran for re-election in 2016 was the first time that city voters were voting with the presidential election as well too. So there was a lot more people coming to the polls. And even when I was standing outside in front of the polls, there were some people who didn't even know who I was. And I was like, well, I've been there for 3 years, so I would hope that you would know who I am. Yeah. And my name was certainly in the paper for different initiatives and whatnot. But, they were there to vote for the president. They were there to vote for, the other races that were on the ballot. So when that happens and it says, vote for city council, vote for 7 people, I think they just kind of went with the people that they knew, the name that they heard or that kind of thing. So that's why I'm hoping that.
So you think it was a name recognition problem at the time?
I think it was, yeah, because I was still relatively new in the community, and I've gotten more involved since then. So hopefully people know, what I've done on the council and also what I've done in the community, and hopefully that they'll give me another chance.
Okay.
Anything surprise you the first time you were on the council, Garrett, and said, "Wow, I didn't see that coming"?
I think it's certainly a surprise when you come from the business world and, I'm self-employed. I get to do what I want to do with my own business. It doesn't work that way in government, and government moves so much slower than we want it to. So sometimes I would have an initiative, and I'll give an example. I wanted to do a new city website, and it seemed like it was a simple, easy thing. That took 6 months to get past. And so it's those kind of things that are frustrating because it's kind of like, this is simple, this is easy. If I for my own business, I would go call somebody and say, let's do a new website, done, and it would be done in a couple of weeks. But those kind of initiatives, and even just like a new idea, it just seems to take an awful long time. And some of that is good because there needs to be some transparency in terms of like, this is the initiative and let's talk take some time, think about it. I've always been open to different people's ideas. If you saw, how I conducted myself on the council, no matter what position they had, whether it be a city employee, city council person, if they had ideas on my legislation, I always talked to them about it and said, how can we amend this? How can we get enough support? I wasn't the kind of person to just say, okay, I've got 4 votes, I'm going to ram it down your throat. That I don't like that mentality. I don't like the mentality of having like, oh, these are my solid votes no matter what it is, or I've never traded a vote to say like I'm going to vote for this if you vote for that. I don't do that kind of mentality. So I think that hopefully that's what people want in their local politicians.
Okay, if elected this time around, is there any like top 3 things or top 5 things you would like to get done? I think, what's your platform, basically?
Yeah, sure. So the platform is available, and if you want more details, you could just go to the website, which is POP4Woonsocket.com. But we basically have a few initiatives. The number one is increase economic development. I think we all know that the city needs additional revenue, and we can't keep on going back to the taxpayers who still have, equate the burden to pay here in the community. So, we've got some ideas to work on zoning issues, some incentives, especially to bring in a supermarket, which is what a lot of people want. And just, trying to be a more professional business environment, trying to get more online applications, streamlining permits, that kind of thing we want to take a look at. The second thing is education. We all know that we need a strong education system in the city, and that's a part of our local economy too. Still there's too many families that are moving out or picking other options, and we need a good working relationship between the city council and the school committee. That's something that I spearheaded when I was on the council the first time. I said, why are these 2 bodies not meeting together?
Yeah, were you a proponent of getting the electorate to vote for the school committee, until, 2 or 3 years ago? 2 years ago, I guess it was appointed by the mayor. How did you feel about that, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I felt that the majority should be elected. I did try to do a hybrid model when I was on the council with my other fellow council people, and I felt that was important because I wanted to kind of fill in the gaps and make sure that we had people with education experience, some business experience, some parent experience. So I wanted to make sure that the board had a full makeup of it. But I feel like the majority should be elected because I want them to be accountable to people and say, okay, if we don't do a good job, it's not just about having a relationship with one or two people that appoint you. It's about actually being accountable to the people that send their kids there, and at least they feel that they respond to them.
The school board represents the voters, and the voters, that's their voice, who to hire as the superintendent and take it from that point on. So
right, yeah.
Okay, I got you. So you're happy with the way things went as far as the vote was?
I think it was the right direction to go in.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
This time around, Garrett, you're running as part of a 3-member team.
Yes.
Tell us who your team is, and then tell us why you decided to run as a team.
Sure. So I'm running with two of my good friends, which are Margot Morisseau and David Tusi, who's on the council now. And it wasn't really a necessary plan to do that. We had some conversations about running for office. We weren't sure what offices we were going to run for. And then when we all saw that we were running for city council together, it just kind of made sense to work together and kind of collaborate. It's not a team that has any strings attached to it. We just said we're three friends and we have similar platforms, so we came up with the platform together. And we just said, let's try to work together and try to do mailings together. Our first mailing just went out, so you should receive that soon if you haven't. But those kind of things just make it more affordable and make it more reasonable to run this kind of a campaign, especially in light of the pandemic and everything, where we can't go up to people as much as we would like to. We can't hold, large fundraisers and that kind of thing. It made sense to just kind of collaborate and work together.
Has the team decided which mayoral candidate to support yet? Is it going to be the incumbent mayor, Lisa Baldelli Hunt, or Mr. Brian?
So we have decided to focus on our own race and not get involved in other people's races.
Okay.
And especially, I think it's real important that no matter who the mayor is, that we have a working relationship with that person. And as you can see over time, Woonsocket has kind of fallen into that hole of, I support this person, I don't support this person, and I'm going to support this initiative or not support this initiative based on who is there. And we're not going to play those games. We're going to focus on, is it a good idea for Woonsocket? We're going to support it. So we don't want to get trapped into that whole kind of gamesmanship back and forth. And I also want to point out, some people have said, why is there only 3 people on your team?
You need 4 to get a majority.
Because typically teams want to have 4, 5, 6 people on it,
Anyway, yeah.
And we kind of have the attitude that it really didn't matter because we're not looking to have 4 votes for something. We're not looking to have 5 votes for something. There are people out there that are saying, well, we need a veto-proof majority of the budget. Well, you haven't seen the budget yet. So how can you say that you want to veto the budget when you haven't even seen it, And honestly, we should be working together. I mean, we have we're rolling out a totally new idea for the budget, which is to actually have work sessions to develop the budget. And then we're going to have a city presentation by the administration for the budget. And then we're going to have city council amendments submitted before the meeting so they can actually be posted so the general public can see them before we actually vote on them. So those kind of initiatives that we're trying to do, another one of our platform is to just increase the openness, the fairness and transparency, and also just the inclusion of the people for the local government.
In the race now, there are 7 openings. 6 are running for re-election.
6 incumbents.
So there'll be 1 new councilor.
At least, yeah.
And if you win, you'll be a new old councilor. Or an old new, Right. So there is definitely 1 new councilor coming in.
Yes.
And of course,
at least,
I'm sure you hope it's at least. Yeah,
I would like at least.
Or a member of your team anyway, right?
All of us, yeah. That's the goal.
Yep. Okay. Trying to make that clear.
Do you have any other specific ideas for economic development? You mentioned about possibly wanting to bring in a supermarket into the city. Anything else you might be working on or want to work on?
So one thing that I really hear from investors and business owners is that they want to streamline the approval process. And, with this whole pandemic situation, we've had to do more things virtually. And what we're going to take a look at is how can we kind of keep some of those things in place, even though, maybe you don't have to go out and inspect every little thing. Maybe there are some things that we can send in a photo or just kind of show proof that the work has been done by a licensed contractor. And, we need to, get some of those things done because they kind of delay people. We shouldn't be waiting, 3, 4, 5 weeks to help this business owner open. So we want to make sure that those kind of things are streamlined and go quicker because that's our reputation too. When somebody opens up a business here, when somebody invests here, we want them to promote Woonsocket and say, things were so easy in that town. I did everything online. It was quick. It was done in a couple weeks. That's the kind of reputation that we want to have and we want to promote out in the community.
Okay. Do you see more businesses coming to the Diamond Hill Road area that are non-retail businesses? There seems to be more popping up in those two plazas. Do you want more of that kind of businesses coming to town?
Well, I think we do need to get a little bit more creative outside of the box. I can't really speak to those particular businesses, but I think maybe we need to talk to those plaza owners and say, maybe it's time to update what your model of success here. It seems to me that the retail complexes that are successful are ones that have a residential component to it. So maybe they do need to be redeveloped and put some apartments up top. Some condominiums up top so that it actually builds some more traffic because the whole idea of having, a 1960s, 1970s style retail flat complex just isn't successful today. And when you see these big box stores are struggling, they're doing more and more online sales. And I think that, with the COVID-19 situation, people have gotten more used to buying things online. And they're going to continue to struggle. So I know people like to have some big box stores, but really their future is really up in the air at this point, I think. So I think we do need to be more creative, try to find some uses that maybe it is more office space, maybe it is residential space to try to fill some of that empty spaces because we have a lot of it and we just need to get more creative.
Talk about residential. Is there a housing shortage in the city right now? You're into real estate, so you would know that.
I can tell you that for people looking to buy, there absolutely is. When I, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there would be 120, 150 houses on the market right now. And today, there's about 24.
Really?
So that tells you that there's a severe shortage. And I can also tell you that because I've been involved in the North Main Street project, 122 North Main Street, where Lops Brewing is, and those apartments sold, leased out before they were completed. So even though some people said, do we really need more apartments and all that stuff? Yes, we do. So especially when it's, nice, high quality apartments. And I was talking to the developer and they said we actually moved some people in from Boston that they didn't even know about the area, but they said, the apartment's beautiful, it's affordable, and I think the guy was pretty young, so he was there with his mother, and the mother just loved Woonsocket, and it was great. So those kind of experiences are really fun to see.
It's a known fact that people coming in from Boston are marveling at the prices here compared to what they would pay in Boston.
Yep. Double or triple,
so they don't mind commuting, and that's what's probably driving part of that market, would you say?
Yep.
How about single-family houses?
We're running out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
It's a quick 15 minutes.
It is a very quick 15 minutes. We want to give you 1 minute, though, to just any last-minute statements you want to make, Garrett, about your campaign.
Yeah, so we'll be doing more. I know it's a little bit early, but I did want to mention that we are going to be in the parks, so make sure to go to pop4woonsocket.com, and you can see it's under the events tab, so if you want to come down and meet with us, and we're going to be doing more mailers, so feel free to contact us by phone and email, and we're looking forward to getting your vote in November.
All right, Garrett Manasiri, thanks for joining us today on Coffee In.
Thank you very much.
All right, more is coming up. Stay tuned.
When it comes to emergency service for plumbing and heating, you can't beat C.J. Nemus, 37 Corey Street in Woonsocket. C.J. Nemus offers over 15 years of experience and is licensed in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. C.J. Nemus offers complete heating system service, plumbing, water heaters, plus drain and sewer cleaning. Remember that senior citizens receive a 10% discount. So give Charlie a call today at C.J. Nemus, 769-4776. They're registered with the Better Business Bureau. They're a master plumber with quality service. It's the only way and the best way. With C.J. Nemus, call today, 769-4776 for C.J. Nemus.
Annette at Baraducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center reminds you that during these difficult times of COVID-19, Baraducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center is prepared to help you make all your arrangements online in the safety and comfort of your home. This way, Woonsocket residents stay as safe as possible. Call 401-751-5000, 401-751-5000, and they will walk you through this easy, simple process. 751-5000, or visit their website, providencecremation.com. Baraducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center.
Here's what's coming up next. Greatest Hits USA.
Hey friends, this is Chuck Matthews on Greatest Hits USA, and coming up this weekend, we're going to answer the following questions. Who started out singing advertising jingles? What group was told they only had 10 minutes? And who had the #1 record this week in 1969? Find out. Turn it up this weekend right here.
Greatest Hits USA.
Weather forecast on Coffee and it's being sponsored by CVS. Today, gradually becoming a sunny day. Sun's coming out. High will be near 82 today. Tonight, we'll have increasing clouds. Low temperature around 66. Slight chance of some showers late tonight. Saturday's forecast, cloudy skies. Showers and thunderstorms are likely in the early afternoon and then just showers after that. It's the remnants of the hurricane. Laura, that we're going to get sometime on Saturday and into Saturday night. It'll be cloudy Saturday night as well, and a low temperature on Saturday night around 65. Sunday, sunny, high of 76. Monday, mostly sunny, high near 76.
Nice weather coming.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have partly sunny skies and 73 degrees. CVS pharmacists have a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings will vary, and see store for details. This portion of the Coffee and program is sponsored by the Valley Breeze newspaper.
When you want to know what's coming up in your town, there's news as it's reported, and there are public notices. Public notices, also called legal ads, are placed by cities and towns in newspapers to alert you of important meetings that'll be coming up soon. At the Valley Breeze newspapers, you'll find public notices right up front, generally on page 4. They aren't tiny, hard-to-read ads in the back of the paper. In the Breeze, ads are easy to find and read. We want you to know. In addition, all public notices are placed online at valleybreeze.com, where they remain posted until the public meeting is passed. It's just the right thing to do. If you live in Cumberland, Lincoln, North Smithfield, or another local town, you'll find public notices in the Breeze every week and online at valleybreeze.com. Go to the homepage and click Public Notices. You'll find them all. Breeze public notices that will keep you informed, ahead of the crowd, in the paper and online. Thanks for noticing.
All right, it's Coffee In here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Romeo Bertham is here. We expect Dave Richards to come back into the studio at some point.
Yeah.
So, Romeo, headline in today's call. Woonsocket City Schools say they're not ready to reopen.
They're not ready.
Ready
I
to
didn't
reopen.
see that. But
school officials say they can't open because the air ducts haven't been cleaned.
Oh.
And it's got to do with the right kind of flow of air to be good, so it doesn't carry any microorganisms where people might get sick. But then you're looking at the age of the schools.
Yeah, some are new.
Not just here in Woonsocket, but around the state. Some school buildings, they're just old.
So what is the target date to open now?
September 14th.
14th, but they don't think they'll be ready by then.
Well, they won't be ready to have in-person learning, which is what the governor wants.
Yeah.
She wants the whole state to have everybody go back to school. And they're saying Woonsocket, along with other schools, Providence and Pawtucket and West Warwick and a few of the others, we're not ready for that yet because, and I heard Dave say it in the story, well, we've ordered these new filters to come clean it up, but everybody's ordered these things.
Yeah.
And so now it's on back order, and we're not going to get them in time.
So
we need to do, either start remote learning or do some kind of hybrid, or
will the teachers be going in, as far as you know? In spite of that, or is that going to be? I didn't read the story, so
I don't know.
Not sure. I was just going to say, if the quality isn't good for the students, then it's not good for the teachers either. Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going to be teaching from.
Yep.
And that's a big story. That's a story in Massachusetts too, about where they want all the teachers to come in and teach from the classroom. And I'm like, well, okay.
Well, it depends on.
They say they have more access to their more access to learning materials as opposed to at their home.
Yeah, of course.
So well, it makes sense. So, but I don't know if they want to do that here in the city of Woonsocket. So, the governor is supposed to make a decision on Monday.
Okay.
Of what happens in September. It'll be September 1st on Monday.
Tuesday.
You're right, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So August 31st, she's supposed to make a decision on what all the schools. And I don't know why. It's 39 school systems, right, in Rhode Island?
Yep.
Roughly?
Yeah, I think so.
Why do they all have to do the same thing?
They always have.
Well I love that.
State
Let's
aid.
think outside the box.
Okay.
All right. If it's better for one community to do remote learning, let's use Woonsocket, and it's better for another community, Newport, to do it in person, why can't they just do it the way the superintendents deemed best for them?
Well, each community, as you know, is autonomous. I mean, to a point where they don't want to give up their independence. That's why we have 39 different school districts, right?
Yes, I
but
know.
Each one of those districts, however, relies on a lot of state aid.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have said, hey, why don't we just have one school district, one superintendent with maybe
and everybody will be happy.
39 assistants running the, we're Los Angeles County is a bigger school system than all of Rhode Island.
Don't get me started on them.
No, but
I've had dealings with them, and you don't want to be dealing with them.
So I just thought I'd throw that out.
Well, it's a great idea, by the way. But now you have to get rid of 38 superintendents and either demote them, or or get rid of them. And they all have contracts. Do they all have contracts?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be effective a certain date. It wouldn't happen tomorrow.
20 years from now.
Well, it depends on the
when your contract runs out, we're just not going to refill it.
Yeah,
and then eventually we'll whittle it down and whittle it down until we have one.
I don't think it'll be an issue, though. I don't think it'll ever happen. It's been an issue for years and years, as far as some people advocating that and other people saying, no way, we don't want to give up our independence. It's like, sure, why not? Thank you, Miss.
I saw that tried in Cumberland.
Thank you.
And they had 5 different fire districts and 5 different fire chiefs, and eventually, I think it's now down to 1. But it got ugly there for a while, and that's now we're dealing with. Well, it eventually started with 4. But it got ugly, and the same thing will happen with the superintendents. Try to get it down to 1.
It would definitely become political. It is political, of course. School committees would not want to give up their power, and that's the issue, big issue. But anyway,
that's right. There'd only be one school committee. Right?
That's a whole other bag of whatever you want to call it, worms. You open that up.
Fish.
Yep, thank you.
I was going to say donuts, but
no, you could. Yeah, well, provided they're jelly donuts, that's fine too. I know.
Now, Dave, do you think that's okay if one school committee wants to do not one school district wants to do it one way, while another does it another way? Do all the school districts in Rhode Island have to do it the same way?
Wow.
Like the governor wants?
What I think that means nothing.
Okay. What do you believe then?
If you examine it, all right.
If you examine it, you're only dealing with reality, and I think out of an abundance of courtesy, 8 districts who looked at it and said, we're screwed. We ain't going to make the 14th of September.
Right.
But the governor's going to make her a big announcement on Monday, triumphant, horns blaring, confetti's dropping from the ceiling, balloons are flying.
Oh, good.
That she won, and everybody's going back to the classroom there on the 14th. We better tell her ahead of time that it isn't going to happen where we are. In an abundance of caution.
Has already told her, we're not going to make it.
He and 7 other school districts. By the way, another one is Lincoln. So don't just be looking at Woonsocket and say, oh, geez, poor Woonsocket can't toe the mark. No, one of them's Lincoln.
Okay.
And they're filthy with money in Lincoln. You know this.
Ooh.
Didn't they just build a high school without borrowing any money?
They're still building it.
Yeah, well, still building it, whatever. But the point I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to do with Woonsocket. And the letter sent out last Tuesday, 6 days before the announcement, was to warn the governor, I'm sure, because they're not in the business of trying to embarrass the governor, and they don't want the drama. They see it unworkable for the 14th. It's still everyone's goal to get everybody back into a classroom, including here in Woonsocket. But it doesn't look like it's possible. So we're warning you ahead of time before you make your speech, Governor. This is the deal.
So what can she announce then?
What did she announce?
No. What can she announce on Monday?
Simply, we're not ready.
The facts. She'll just report to the public what the facts are. That the majority of school districts are ready, and the others will be as soon as they can.
Okay. So, but
I
is
mean,
that,
and that's still it's a victory for any chief executive dealing with problems this complex and wide-reaching.
I don't know if it's a victory.
Oh, it is. It is. When you got the majority of people doing what you're saying, there you go.
Romeo?
No, I have to agree with Dave, which doesn't happen too often.
No, you don't.
No, I do, because I agree. That's what she has to say. What can she say?
But you couldn't be any more responsible than knowing the announcement is coming up and knowing you're not going to meet your deadline to give the chief executive ample notice that you're incapable of meeting her deadline because of extraordinary circumstances.
But then it all goes back to who's in charge: the school committee, the superintendent, or the governor. Ultimately, the governor.
Ultimately, it's the governor.
Well, everybody's in charge of something.
Yeah.
And the governor is on top, supposedly in charge of coordinating all the other things that are in charge of something.
Yeah.
Let's face it,
Yeah, and it all boils down
and
to...
she ends up with a responsibility for everything because they'll blame her if somebody else messes up.
But it all boils down to
that's the
money,
job.
Because the state does supply every school district in Rhode Island with a substantial amount of cash, depending on their situation. Woonsocket gets about 80%.
Those are the rules.
So I think a lot of it is based on, as my brother would say, it's not the money, it's the money. And if they want to comply, if they want the state aid, they have to comply. Simple.
So basically, you think she's going to come out and say on Monday that the school districts, the majority of the school districts will have in-person learning starting on September 14th, except for these 8?
Could be.
They'll start with remote learning until they can catch up to the rest of the state.
I would not be comfortable predicting what the governor can say, or will say, I should say. But I am looking at the facts, and I can imagine her saying that because those are the facts as we think we know them.
Okay.
But what she'll say, it's up to her.
I understand. Okay. Let's see. This doctor in Uxbridge... Romeo.
Doctor?
Yeah.
What about him?
Her.
Well, it's either a him or a her.
Oh, you can't tell. It's
Sorry
Leslie.
about that.
I don't have. I didn't have a way to check that this morning.
So what's the story?
Oh, no. In the story, it does say she.
Well, it also says he.
Really?
And the first name is Leslie, which could be masculine or feminine.
Yeah. What is the story?
But the first time the doctor is referred to in the story is referred to as a he,
and later
then
she.
gives the name Leslie as a first name, Dr. Leslie so-and-so. And then afterwards, in the next portion of the sentence, it says, she did this.
Yeah.
So I really don't know the gender of the doctor, but we had to pick. And the most likely one, I think, would be it's a female doctor.
She pled guilty to federal charges that she conspired to distribute the drug Adderall.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the doctor's name?
Dr. Leslie Karaseni.
Okay.
Admits she conspired with others to distribute the amphetamine for non-medical purposes. She also was accused of providing blank prescription pads to co-conspirators.
And then...
explained how to properly fill them out. That's pretty bad. Wow.
It's one that you could say, well, they stole the pads, but no, if you explain how to fill them out...
Say bye-bye to your license, Doc.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh,
she is going to be sentenced, or he...
She.
will
it says
be
right there they're going to be in jail.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm like, wow.
That's pretty much decided that they're going to jail.
Now, most of the time, Adderall is prescribed for children with ADHD.
Okay.
It's an upper, but if you have ADHD, it works in reverse. I've had this explained to me.
Did it mention what the doctor's specialty was or is?
It doesn't say.
Pediatrician, maybe?
It doesn't say.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird that Adderall works in reverse on kids with ADHD. And
wow.
But if you don't have it, it's like it says, it's an amphetamine. It's going to speed you up and make you run around like crazy. So that's what happened. That's what happened in your town, Romeo. So I want to keep you up to date on what's going on with that.
Yeah. First I hear of it.
All right, we're going to take a break on the Coffee In program, and this segment of Coffee In has been sponsored by the Valley Breeze newspaper.
Is your business struggling to be found on Google? Are you still trying to figure out how Facebook works? Are you wasting your money on social media? Do you just need more customers? If you do, then contact the local digital marketing team at Breeze Digital Media in Lincoln. Breeze Digital Media has programs that are approved by Google and Facebook and are designed to grow your business. Packages start at only $199 a month and include easy monthly reporting so you know where your investment is going. Contact Breeze Digital Media for a free marketing analysis of your business today. Call 401-334-9555, extension 154, anytime, or visit breezedigitalmedia.com/offer.
Chan's Fine Oriental Dining is well recognized as a major dining and entertainment venue in Rhode Island, the Northeast, and beyond. Patrons can choose from an excellent selection of Oriental cuisine, including popular combination dishes, lo mein and noodle dishes, vegetarian entrees, and seafood. Chan's also offers traditional favorites like 10 varieties of their unique fried rice, chow mein, chop suey, and poo-poo platters. Be sure to check their outstanding jazz, blues, folk, and comedy performers. Chan's at 267 Main Street, Woonsocket, 765-1900.
Hey, this is Jeff Ryan. And I'm Dave Koz. Join me this weekend as I welcome saxophonist Jeff Ryan. He's a new horn on the scene, and I'm looking forward to sharing his new music with you and getting to know him a bit better. Head over to my website, davekoz.com, for all the details, and be here this weekend for Jeff Ryan and yours truly on the Dave Koz Radio Show.
Hi, fans of smooth jazz. The Dave Koz Radio Show can only be heard on ON Radio, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM every Sunday, twice on Sundays, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and again 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., unless we're preempted by Boston Celtics or the Boston Bruins. The Dave Koz Radio Show is brought to you by the Carew Investment Group. It's the Dave Koz Radio Show right here on
ON, AM, and FM.
All right, Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning on this Friday morning, August 28th. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Romeo Berthium. And, it never ceases to amaze me.
He's amazed.
When people
he's amazed, He's easily amazed, I think.
am easily amazed that when people think they can get away with doing something illegal and then they get caught at it. And we have the story, the man in Providence, that reported that his guns were stolen.
Right.
And then he's caught selling the guns.
That's just insurance fraud. That's an old scam.
Yeah,
insurance fraud.
But what gets me is you think you're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than your average bear, and they won't catch me.
There's a lot of that goes on.
There must be.
Well, it's not that atypical. I mean, there's not a soldier that goes into war that doesn't practice a little self-delusion that they're the one that's coming home. You know, the guys that go up in the airplanes and dogfight with the enemy, fighter pilots, they don't go up thinking that they're not coming back. They go up expecting to come back. They order dinner. And it's almost like a superstition to them. They order dinner, they leave things undone, and because I'll be back to finish those up later. There's a certain amount of self-delusion in business people as well. I'm the one that's not going to go out of business in 5 years.
That's good.
Well, there's nothing illegal about going out of business.
Well, I understand that, but it's self-delusion when you have a project or a task that you're considering, and you pump yourself up to think, yes, this will work.
And I wonder, because he was selling the guns through a middleman who's also being charged, and you just wonder what kind of conversations that they had. Did the middleman say, "Hey, sell them to me. I've done this before. Yes, it's illegal, but I've got a way of getting around, skirting the law. So
I know a guy.
I know a guy. Don't worry about it. I'll handle it."
Yep.
Oh, okay. And you're going to make this much money, so don't worry about it. Go through me, and then bang, you get nailed.
So the engine is greed, isn't it? That's what drives these people. Yeah.
Because you're going to get the sale of the guns, you're going to get the insurance money for saying that the guns were stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So you would just pile money on top of money.
Insurance companies,
but you have to lie on official forms and sign your name to it. So that's
don't worry about it. Everybody does it.
So
speaking of money, sales tax holiday weekend in Massachusetts. This weekend.
Big stinking yawn. First of all. This thing came in years ago with trumpets blaring. I mean, the governor was escorted on a litter by a bunch of bearers. This was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and every state should do this. But we're doing it because we can. But years later, if you read the rest of the story, you see that most of the stuff you're going to buy over the weekend still will be taxed because there are exceptions.
Like cars.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the price. The price is cut off at $2,500.
Anything over $2,500, and that could be furniture these days.
So
seriously, and then so that you have that, gasoline, food, alcohol. You know, go down the list of the common things that you would buy, and it's still charged sales tax. And marijuana too, by the way.
I know,
they don't waive the sales tax on marijuana.
Okay.
Go ahead, Romeo.
That's the main reason they legalized it. Obviously, to get the
to
tax
get the
money. Of
taxes on
course,
it.
we know that. But the thing is, though, I also suspect that when they have these holidays, these tax holidays, that some merchants raise the price of the product anyway,
course.
so they get their money anyway. I mean, they don't, the state doesn't get it, but they get it.
Right. But they've on this weekend, because I've seen it in the past, go to Walmart or Target or Best Buy and see how crowded it is in the electronics department of people going for big screen TVs and laptop computers. It's packed.
Well,
Because I've actually done it. It was like 4 or 5 years ago when my son was going off to college.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, this was something.
It's still something.
It does generate.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do without the Rhode Island shoppers.
They're going to go.
They're going to go to Mass.
Well, we're not supposed to go.
They're not going to ask you where you're from if you're shelling out.
We're not going to work,
$1,000.
and we're not going to school, and we're not quarantining for 14 days, so we're not supposed to go there.
But if you're using a credit card, they know where you live. I guess.
Right.
They can easily find out.
Of course, if you're going across the border for groceries, you know, necessities, fine, we understand that, but they're still being taxed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a big stinking yawn for me on this one. I said, you guys have made this into a joke.
It's not like you to be so cynical, David.
Well, I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of guys that aren't cynical. I have to play that part. I mean, give me a break. I understand radio. You know, you don't have discussion if you don't have disagreement.
There you go.
If we're all sitting around here agreeing about everything, it's going to be one big click across the Blackstone Valley. And that hurts.
Yeah, controversy is always good. It makes
I mean, okay, so I'm playing devil's advocate on a few things here. I mean, it's no big deal, but it all has a germ of truth to it all. That this is not the thing it used to be, the tax holiday.
Well, but it still gets crowded. And people
it'd be interesting to see if it does, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that it will compare to previous years.
Doesn't 2 days. Doesn't Massachusetts usually put out after the fact how much money was spent?
It probably will.
Well, it did it first when it wanted renewal of the law.
I think they still do. But Rhode Island did it. Has done it in the past, haven't they?
There was a Me Too. They're not doing it again this year. No, there's a Me Too.
Usually on Victory Day. That weekend.
Yeah,
usually. Yeah. And even Mass usually does it earlier than they did. Usually mid-August, early August. So they went late August. It doesn't matter. They did it.
All right. Speaking of no tax, because New Hampshire doesn't have any sales tax.
That's right.
So
no problem.
Back in my retail days, at CompUSA, people would from Massachusetts run up to New Hampshire and buy their electronics up there because they wouldn't have to pay sales tax. And I think they actually told them in New Hampshire, now remember, make sure to tell the IRS at tax time that you bought this.
Of course.
Sure. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, sometimes whatever the product was, didn't work, so they would return it to us in Massachusetts. And they said, and we just want the same thing. Okay, that'll be $50
more because of the tax.
Well, that's right. They said, but I'm just swapping things out. That's what it looks like to you. we would tell them. They said, in the eyes of the state, you're returning something and buying something.
Yeah.
So the state wants their money. Well, then I'd have to go all the way. Then they'd say, "Well, I have to go all the way back to Massachusetts, back to New Hampshire to get it for free." That's correct.
Yeah. Life rots, and then you die, kid.
Yeah, and so
but you'll live free.
You made the trip initially.
Right.
Well, now
What's the motivation?
But now I got to do it again, or pay us, or pay the state. But
there was no one to argue with the first time.
That's right.
They just want a good argument. That's what they came for.
The majority of the people.
Is this abuse or is this argument?
That's right. Monty Python. Most of the people took their stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. I'll drive back to Salem.
Yeah.
Okay. It's only 2 hours. I mean, it's not like it's not like going to be there all day.
In Texas, people go 2 hours for nothing for beer.
Yeah,
Seriously. I mean,
in
some areas of the country, an hour or 2 hours. You look down there. at the Daytona Orlando area. Now, Daytona and Orlando are so close together economically, they share the license of a television station. Seriously.
I didn't know that.
Like Providence and New Bedford.
Yeah.
Only Providence and New Bedford are only like 45 minutes apart. Do I have that right? Somewhere in that vicinity?
And they're two different states as well.
Yeah. It's an hour and more between Daytona and Orlando. And if you take Route 4, which is the only good road to take it on, it's 2 or 3 hours. But it's a real... distance is so relative in certain areas of the country. Here in New England, what? I got to go all the way to Providence?
Put some water in that
You can
radiator.
be in Providence in 15 minutes if you're in the south end of the city.
12 minutes. There's a sign up on 146 right.
Oh,
near
that's
Park
right.
Square.
Yeah.
You're only 12 minutes away from Providence.
And by the way, that's if you obey the speed limit.
Yeah,
which, I mean, how many people do that? Raise your hands.
Very few.
All the time, because I've been trained, because there's always a North Smithfield police officer that sits going on 146A North, and he sits in the driveway to that church.
Oh,
yeah,
right past the Taco Bell.
So you know.
So I know to go about 40.
Oh, you're talking about that's 146A. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
thanks for the tip. I was there. I have to travel there this morning.
Yeah. Well,
Only when you're going north.
and things are so congested there. You're just
Yeah.
you're
I don't,
really.
see, I don't know why he sits there, because it's right after a light. So there's not enough time to
Yeah.
get up any good speed.
No,
If you
that's
get
for,
stopped at
that's
the
for those who are blowing by
The light,
two
yeah.
signs that first of all tell you reduce speed 35 ahead and then 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You had to blow by those two in order to get to him.
Yeah.
So if you're still going,
55, 60.
because generally you're doing in the 45 zone on that stretch of 146 before you turn off onto Park Square toward Park
At least
Square,
55.
you're generally doing 60.
Yeah.
You can.
I mean, most folks are doing 60, I think. That's what I've observed. So you got to drop down to 35 pronto dente there.
Yeah, I remember that. That's all I'm
Okay.
going to say.
This is the first school I've seen this. First college, University of Mass at Amherst is furloughing 800 workers.
Oh, yeah. You're going to see nothing but furloughs and layoffs for the next several months because all the government help is gone. It's been used
Yeah.
up.
There's a $169 million budget deficit.
Yeah.
And they're
At
losing
UMass?
and they're losing another $30 million in tuition revenue.
Well,
If Trump loses the election, it's because of this. Because they say, okay, we can get through this, then there's no help, or there's help with so many strings on it, it doesn't help you, and now you're going to be laying people off and closing down businesses, all just before the election.
$67 million dip in housing and dining revenue because the kids aren't coming back to school.
And so many of them are asking for tuition rebates because they're not going back. They're
Right.
learning from home. And, just very quickly, I know we're running out of time here, but I read somewhere this week that Twin River is laying off 1,500 people.
Yeah, they have to, yeah.
1,500 people.
Well, I heard it was 1,200, but I mean,
the
why
ballpark.
quibble over 300 people
Including
unless
Tiverton.
you're one of the 300?
Including Tiverton, but still.
Yeah, it's 1,000 in Lincoln and 300 in Tiverton, basically.
That's going to hurt
Yeah.
the local economy.
$26 million loss in the second quarter because they had to close.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can't make it back fast enough because you can only have so many people in the building at the time.
And there's no more assistance.
Yeah, that's right.
So there.
That's right. So, and that guy that allegedly fleeced those women, he's not going to Twin River because now he's in jail.
Well, I'm sure that hurts.
It does.
Because
All
he
right.
left a lot behind.
All right, we got to run. We thank Garrett Mansuri for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Garrett.
And we'll have more politicians next Thursday and Friday.
I understand Garrett's going to be visiting. If you didn't get enough of Garrett, he'll be back next Wednesday as a guest on the midday show.
Oh, very good. Romeo, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We'll see you on Monday.
Maybe tomorrow morning. I'll be
And
on.
tomorrow morning.
I'll be here. You may
You
not
forgot?
see me, but you'll
I
hear me
forgot.
from 6 to 9 tomorrow morning, the Saturday show.